What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest channel and podcast. If you have not subscribed yet, please do go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you know whenever a new episode is uploaded. So getting back to these podversations, I'm just really happy to be here because I have not been feeling well and I'm definitely doing a whole lot better. But forgive my voice because it is not 100% back there, but this is going to be a conversation about Joycelyn Savage. Now, she was, I believe, listed as one of the victims for the singer rkelly, who has recently been sentenced in one case, because he's got another one that's coming up. I believe at least one other case that he is due to stand trial for. I believe it may be in Georgia or maybe Chicago. I can't really remember exactly where at the moment. But she is now reportedly engaged to the singer. And I wanted to talk about this because he's been in prison since, I believe, 2019, late 2019. And he has been trying to get out due to COVID concerns and all of these things, and they have not released him. And now he's been sentenced to 30 years. 30 years. Now, this story has been reported all over, but I'm actually going to be getting this content from Fox News Entertainment. And the story is rkelly and Joycelyn Savage are engaged, but his alleged victim's parents aren't buying it. In a letter dated June 13th to Judge Ann Donnelly, the 26-year-old described herself as engaged to the 55-year-old. The Grammy-winning, multi-platinum selling songwriter, whose name is Robert Sylvester Kelly, was found guilty last year of racketeering and sex trafficking. He has denied wrongdoing and plans to appeal his conviction. The family has not been notified of any such change in relationship status with Joycelyn Savage or Robert Sylvester Kelly, said attorney Gerald Griggs on behalf of the family in a statement sent to Fox News Digital on Monday. The family has serious concerns about the validity of such a relationship, given the proven allegations against Mr. Kelly, read the statement. The family still seeks direct contact with their beloved daughter, Joycelyn, and hopes to make contact with her separate and apart from Robert Sylvester Kelly. They love their daughter and will continue to be in her life long after Mr. Kelly is not. According to legal documents obtained by TMZ, Savage wrote, "My name is Joycelyn Savage, and I'm Robert Kelly's fiance. I'm writing this letter in support of Robert in advance of his sentencing, so I can explain to the court that I'm not the victim that the government has portrayed me to be." In the letter, Savage said she and the I Believe I Can Fly singer share a deep love and special connection. "Robert is not the monster that the government has described him to be," wrote Savage. "The Robert I know is very sweet, gentle, and kind. At the end of the day, he has always made sure that I'm taken care of, or any other women he was with as well." So I believe she wrote that because she wrote women, not any other woman. Savage also insisted that she's not the victim that the government has portrayed her to be. She described Kelly as an all-around incredible person who takes any opportunity he can to help those in need, noting that the things that have been said about him with me and other women being held against our will is absolutely untrue. "Robert and I are deeply in love, and it breaks my heart that the government has created a narrative that I'm a victim," Savage concluded in her letter. "I'm a grown woman and can speak for myself, which is why I wanted to provide this letter to the court." On July 5th, prosecutors said in court papers that Kelly was no longer on SUI side watch following the jailed R&B singer's June 29th sentencing in a federal sex abuse case. The filing came in response to a claim made by Kelly's attorneys that he was placed on SUI side watch as a form of punishment after a judge sentenced him to 30 years behind bars for using his fame to exploit women and girls and some boys. Initially, prosecutors said the measure was needed for his own safety following a psychological examination. They later said prison officials took him off SUI Watch based on a follow-up clinical assessment. Savage, an Atlanta native and aspiring singer. I don't even know why they keep saying that, because that girl has no aspirations to sing. Met Kelly when she was 19. In March 2019, Savage claimed her parents created accusations against Kelly out of retaliation for money and scam purposes because they didn't agree with a music deal they had. In November of that year, reports alleged that Savage had made her own claims of assault against Kelly on Patreon, a paid membership platform, but in December, Savage denied she was behind the account, claiming someone had been impersonating her. And that still never came out who actually did that if it wasn't her. But I don't believe it was her. I do believe it was someone else. And she's still in this state of being just mesmerized and brainwashed by this man. And what I wanted to discuss in this conversation about Joycelyn Savage supposedly, allegedly being engaged to marry this man. I'm not sure she really is engaged to him. I don't know. That's what's being reported. But I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it, because she has proven herself to be 100% loyal to this man. And I hate to put it in these terms, but I will just say to the death. Pretty much to the death, because R. Kelly is in his 50s and this girl is in her early or mid 20s at this point. She's been with him all of these years. And when azrielclary was in the picture, and we've seen the videos, we saw the Good Morning America interview with Azriel, and the singer. And Azriel was the main person that was speaking when it wasn't the singer wilding out and saying he didn't do this stuff and all this, other things that he was saying. It really was just Joycelyn kind of sitting there. She wasn't speaking a whole lot. She didn't say a whole lot. The few things that she did say, she was just kind of seconding what azrielclary was saying. And to me, and this has also been reported, but what I saw, to me, it looked like azrielclary was like the main one and Joycelyn was just kind of like second fiddle, but really wanted to be the main one. If it were, I believe if she had a choice back then, she would just be the only one. I believe that she wanted to be the only one, but it wasn't his choice. He wanted to have a harem of young girls, young women, even maybe some older women, but she was just waiting in the wings to be the main one. And I wanted to discuss this and say, why would she be doing this? I am no therapist. I am no psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm just sharing my viewpoints and thoughts based on the fact that I've seen, unfortunately, some negative situations when it comes to sibling rivalry. And Joycelyn was the older, or is, not was. She's still here. She's just not with her family anymore. She chose to separate herself from them. She's the oldest child, the oldest daughter. The Savages have 3 daughters. And Joycelyn chose to, or coerce, I would say she didn't just choose to leave, but she was definitely coerced and manipulated and to the point brainwashed into never returning to her family because of the things that this man said and did to her and for her, to make her choose to no longer be with her family anymore. And sometimes people, because again, like I said, I've seen it, I've seen it in a sibling situation, nothing like this where it involves this type of stuff, but being in a family, having a sibling that has mental issues and has made themselves believe things that never were true, never happened, and just pretty much disown their family. And you can't understand why. You can't understand why, but they do it. I believe in this situation with Joycelyn, I'm not saying that she had the best upbringing and best household. I don't know the full, complete family dynamics, but I don't believe that she was destitute and her family was abusive to her in any way. I really don't believe that. I'm not saying that she had the best parents in the world and they were the most upstanding individuals and all of that stuff. I'm definitely not saying that, because I don't have any daughters, but if I did, I definitely would never have been taking them to any R. Kelly concerts, not even really allowing them to go. If they had asked me, if they snuck and did some stuff that I didn't know about, that's one thing, because people do stuff like that, unfortunately, all the time. But to know about it and then have hopes that my daughter would be able to get into the music industry having R. Kelly as their backer, I would never want that. I would rather my child work at Burger King, okay, than to have hopes of having a musical career having R. Kelly back them, because just knowing the allegations from what happened in the past with him, no, I would never want my daughter to be affiliated with this man or anyone that had anything to do with him in any way. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that out there. But with Joycelyn now being his main number one woman, because she wasn't for so many years, because if she was, then why didn't he marry her when they were out, when he was free, when he had the freedom to do so? Why would he wait until after he is sentenced to 30 years in one case? He's still got another one coming, and I don't know if they're going to allow the sentence, because he probably will be found guilty, and I don't know if they will allow it to run concurrently. It may run consecutively, and what that means is when the sentences run concurrently, if someone gets sentenced to 30 years and then in a separate trial they get sentenced to another 20, running concurrently means that both sentences would serve as the same. It would just be sort of a symbolic sentencing. But if it were to run concurrently after the 30 years and he got sentenced to another 20, then he would start that 20 years if he was still alive. And the man is already in his 50s. So the fact that now she would be willing to just give up her life to be engaged to this man and get married to him, I mean, I don't know. Will he be able to have conjugal visits? I don't know how that works, thankfully. I don't know how that prison life is. Thank God. But I'm wondering, is this like what it's going to be? She's going to get married to him and then she'll be able to visit him and have conjugal visits. I don't know. I don't know if when you're in a situation like that, if you get conjugal visits, but it's just ridiculous. I believe that she has put, with the help of the singer, all of the years that she's been with him, she has put this narrative in her head that made her believe that her family treated her parents, treated her siblings better than they treated her. And so now she's on her own. She chose to be with this man. This man is the only one that really loves her. I'm telling you, this may sound crazy, but because I know of someone in a similar, not the same type of situation with a relationship like this or anything like that, but I'm just saying because I know of someone in a family with someone who has put these thoughts in their mind that were never true, things that never happened, and they tried to make it seem like their sibling was favored over them. And this is a person that is in their 50s now. and making it seem like their sibling was favored over them and they were treated worse than the sibling was and they had this horrible life, and none of these things were true. And the family of this person, they're just like, this person is gone. This dude is gone. I don't know who he is anymore. I don't know. I don't understand it. I'm not even going to try to make sense of it. It just is what it is at this point. If he wants to portray this narrative of a life that they never lived and tries to make it seem like he was just treated horribly and the sibling was treated better than he was, and all of these things that are just never true. When I see this story, it reminds me of that. And Joycelyn, I believe, she has created this narrative of the life that she lived when she was with her parents and making it seem like her parents disowned her and just took on the cause of her younger siblings and forsook her. And she didn't have anyone else but Kelly, and he's the only one that loved her. And I'm quite sure that he possibly put some other stories in her brain and in her mind. And because she was already feeling a certain type of way about her parents and her siblings, she just chose to run with that narrative. And people will do stuff like that. Adults, they will believe a lie and just embed it in their brain to the point where other people will start to believe it. And it's really sad, but it is something that happens a lot. Not to insert politics in this, but just being real and being beautifully honest. We all know the former president to this day, this is 2022, and he's still talking about a stolen election. Many people may not be happy with the choice that was elected, but it doesn't mean that the election was stolen. And he was saying before the election ever happened that he lost. The only way he would lose is if the election was stolen. So he was already putting the thoughts in people's minds to make them be on the, whatever the phrase is used, but to already be on the lookout and already be on the offensive if he didn't win, that they would say, there's no way the election was stolen. And to this day, he's still saying the election was stolen, right? And so one of his closest confidants, one of the people that worked the closest with him, Kellyanne Conway, she wrote a book. And she wrote in the book, this came out recently, maybe almost a couple of months ago, that she told him that you lost the election. And he came out and made a statement and said, that is a lie. She never said that, because if she told me that, I wouldn't have anything to do with her anymore. Not saying she lied or not saying, no, that's not true or that never happened. He said that if she told me that, I wouldn't have anything to do with her anymore. So basically, if you don't believe the lie along with me, I'm not going to have anything to do with you anymore. And I'm just saying that as a comparison of how adults will believe lies over what really happened and really go with that narrative for as long as they can and possibly forever. I know someone like that. I know other people that may know people like that, and it really is sad, but I do believe that that is what has contributed to getting Joycelyn Savage to the point where she has not just said, you know what, he's pretty much gone. He's gone. And I need to try to pick up the pieces of my life and start anew, even if it doesn't mean that she would reconcile with her family for whatever reasons, but just moving on and not continuing to be with this man, because at this point she should be considering herself as free, but she chooses to be in bondage along with him, to be in denial, to believe lies, to believe that her family disowned her and was forsaking her over her younger siblings. And so she just felt like she was on her own. And that's not even true. It is really sad, but I was hopeful for her. I hadn't heard anything about her. I don't think anyone has really seen her, but I was hopeful that she would wake up. And not saying I want her to be like Azrielclary, because I believe she was doing the most, pretty much like the complete opposite. Not just the fact that she's freed herself from that situation, but almost to the point where it was like too much exposure. I'm not saying that I even want her to be like that, but I was just hopeful that she would free herself from this situation and not continue to be with this man. But unfortunately, that's where it's at. It's looking like. unless we hear any other reports that come out to refute the story that she's engaged to him. I do believe that she is engaged to him and that she will probably marry this man in prison and just be stuck with him. And it's really sad, but that just goes to show the amount of control that someone can have over an individual. And it's really sad to see. I do feel for her parents. I feel for her siblings. But if I were them, I just wouldn't hold my breath anymore if they ever were to feel that they will reconcile with this chick. She's, at this point, I believe she's 25 or 26 years old. She has chosen to be with this creep for forever, pretty much, if she marries him. I just feel that they just kind of need to let her go. And sometimes it takes that. It may be because they have been holding on for dear life when it comes to this situation. I'm not saying they shouldn't care anymore. They will always love their child. Their siblings will always love her. But she's made this decision, and they should not be in this torturous situation of hoping today will be the day that they will get the call or that she will show up to their home, because I don't believe that their address or number has changed at all, but they don't know where she is. And she's choosing to stick with this monster and believe lies over the truth. And unfortunately, a lot of people choose to be in situations like this because of the narrative that they have put in their own heads. It's not because of anything that really happened or occurred in their lives. And I believe that Joycelyn is one of those people, because she said in that interview that, her parents were, just lying for money and scamming. And azrielclary, she came out and said that, I was lying. The things that I said my parents did, those things never happened. That just wasn't true. I was being told to say certain things, and I was just trying my best to make sure that I was doing the job that he presented for us to do, because I didn't want to get hit or beat. And I believe her. I mean, I know a lot of people don't believe Azriel because she has been doing the most and things like that. But, and again, I'm not saying her parents are perfect either, but I believe that Joycelyn she's allowed herself to be sentenced along with the singer, and it's because of the narrative that she has put in her own mind about what she left behind. And I do believe that her parents and her siblings really do love her and want to see her again, but I at this point, I just don't know if that's ever going to happen. And it's really sad, but Joycelyn is not who left their home. She's a completely different person at this point. And they just probably just need to treat it, and I hate to say it like this, but like a death. And remember her for who she was before she symbolically died. And if that was 18 years old and, under, then just remember her for those years. And the years after that, she's just a completely different person that they just don't even know. But anyway, you guys can let me know your thoughts about this in the comments section. I appreciate you liking, commenting, and subscribing. And until the next time, this is Beth, and I am just being beautifully honest.